Welcome to today's Pew Computers webinar. We will turn the recording off for the Q&A at the end. So if anybody wants to ask questions at the end, that will be turned off for then. So big thanks to Sean McHale from Arrow for joining us today as a speaker, and a big thanks to you all for joining us. Just let anybody know if you do have any questions at any time, just post them in the chat and we'll cover them at the end then for our Q&A section. Or if you prefer to talk, we can unmute at the end then. So if you just raise your hand in the Q&A, we can unmute and you can talk through your mic. So just so that you know, we are joined as well by Avion, who is our technical director at Pew. So he'll be available to us answer any questions at the end then if any crop up. So my name is Mark Price. I'm the Modern Workplace Strategist at Pew Computers. So I'll just be introducing you all to MyPugh, which is our CSP customer portal, and also just discussing sort of the things you can do with it and the benefits it brings as well then. And also we'll be joined by Sean McHale from Arrow, who are our Microsoft CSP distributor. So Sean will be doing a quick sort of live demo of the portal. And at the end, then he'll just be covering some upcoming Microsoft CSP licensing changes then. So you might know the new commerce experience. So these changes will be coming in sort of January next year then, so 2022. So first of all, we'll just cover MyPugh. So sort of what is it? So it's a customer portal that we offer. So you can do quite a few things within there. You can place new orders. So if, for example, you wanted to place new Office 365 or Microsoft 365 licenses, that can be done in the portal. And also managing existing licenses and subscriptions. So if you've already bought licenses, but you need to increase or decrease them, that can be done. You can analyze your usage and set budgets. So for example, if you've got an Azure plan, you can analyze, the usage of that, sort of what resources are costing the most, and also have budgets so you can ensure that you're not spending too much. I know with a lot of our customers, they say, it is easy to rack up sort of large bills within Azure. So it is a handy tool to have to sort of see how much you're using and to make sure you don't go over budget, really. And you can also change your subscription levels. So for example, if you wanted to go from Microsoft 365 A1 to A3 to A5, or the same E1, E3, E5, that can all be done. And you can also manage user permissions then within the portal itself. So you can invite colleagues, you can choose which of those colleagues can place orders, who can change licensing quantities and set budgets and things like that then. So at the moment, the portal is for Microsoft CSP only. We do have plans to cover more vendors, hopefully in the future. So that's something we might work on in the coming months to sort of expand the portal really. And it is available to all our Microsoft CSP customers. So you've all been invited today to this webinar because you are Microsoft CSP customers of ours. So you should have had an invite to MyPugh already, but if that's been missed or if you're not sure, just let us know and we can resend the invitation then to get you set up. So we know some of you in here already use it regularly. We can see that. Some of you might know about the portal but have never used it, or some of you may not, ever have heard of it. So that's all fine. We will show you sort of what you can do and the benefits shortly. So that will be covered next. So in terms of actually accessing the portal, you can see on the screen, so we have got a bit of a screenshot on the right. So that's all you'd have to do is head over to pew.co.uk. So over to our website, and in the top menu, then you can see a button for MyPugh. So you just click that and that will bring up your login page then. And again, if you're not sure of the login, just get in touch and we can help you sort out your access then. A quick tip, so once you are logged in, you can just favorite or bookmark that home page then once you're logged into the portal, so that'll make it easier and faster in future for you. And the best thing of all, it's the access to the portal is completely free. So The only thing you have to be is a Microsoft CSP customer of ours, and you get free access to this portal then, as part of the added value we offer to our customers then. So we've covered what it is, and how to access it and what you can use it for, but sort of we're now going to cover sort of the benefits you get from using it. So starting with placing new orders, so you can order new subscriptions, you can browse the full catalog of products we have. So all the Microsoft CSP products and services will be available in one big catalog for you to browse. So there might be things in there that you're not aware of, so you can just browse that at your leisure, really. Or if there's something specifically you want to find, sort of a product or service, you can use the search bar then to get there faster. And a key benefit of MyPugh is the availability. So you can place orders any day, any time. You just need a device with internet access. That's all. So if you're working late at night or early morning, that's no problem. Even if the Pew offices are closed, you can still place your orders then, and you won't have to wait until the morning to start using them. So with the MyPugh portal, as soon as you place that order, any time, they will be in your tenants pretty much immediately then, so you can start using them right away. So that just sort of takes away the delay of placing orders and waiting for licenses to be provisioned. That's all. And as well as ordering new subscriptions, you can also manage existing ones. So obviously, at the moment, like I said, we've only got Microsoft CSP in here, but moving forward, you will be able to manage all your licenses across the different vendors that we bring on in this single portal then as we expand. So it's easy enough to increase and decrease seats for your existing subscriptions. You can do that just with a few clicks. So you can always make sure you've got enough. And also sort of at the end of the month, you can bring that down then to make sure there's no sort of wasted licenses. So it's handy if you've got staff members or colleagues urgently asking you for licenses, you can just pop in and add a new subscription for a few extra licenses, within a few seconds then. And a good thing within the portal as well, you'll see that everything is logged. So, you can see exactly who's added or removed licenses for a subscription and when they did it then. So you get that sort of full audit log in case you do need it. So it's also great for analyzing usage and setting budgets. So the usage is updated in real time. It's always up to date, so you can see exactly what you're spending your money on. So you can see there, for example, in the screenshot, you can track your Azure usage. So as well as the monthly totals, which you can see, you could also drill down and look at sort of day-by-day usage to see if there's any certain days or periods that there's sort of spiked usage and things like that. And there are sort of detailed breakdowns, so you can see precisely how much of your spend is going towards, for example, Azure virtual machines or Azure databases or Azure storage or anything like that then. And again, with plans to bring more vendors on, you can filter by different vendors and by tags as well within Azure, so you can tag particular resources and sort of reports directly on them then. And you can also export the data. So as well as being available in the portal itself with some easy to read charts, you could also export all that data. So if you need to produce reports or if you just need to keep it for records, you could export all of that from the portal and save locally then. And also with the budgets then, so obviously you can use that to make sure you're not spending too much. So it's a great way to keep your costs under control. And you can also receive alerts then. So as you're reaching, or if you've gone over your budget, you can get alerts directly to you and your colleagues then. And it'll give you projected consumptions as well. So that's very handy for tracking sort of what you're spending and what you're predicted to spend by the end of the month. So if you're projected to hit your entire budget by the 20th of the month, for example, you'll want to know so you can maybe make some adjustments to your plan or your resources or maybe even set aside additional budget then. And finally then, so you can use MyPugh, you can alter your subscription levels and also manage user permissions within the portal itself. So you might find yourself requiring to move from, like I said, M365 A3 to A5 or E3 to E5, just maybe for a month or two for an ongoing project. So that depends on your commitment as well. But you can easily do that within the portal. You can change what you want. It's entirely up to you then, and sort of when it suits you. So if, like I said, if you've got a project on that you need to upgrade for, then you could do that temporarily. And you also get full breakdowns of the features and requirements. So for certain subscription plans, so for example, if you need a particular security tool, for example, you can browse through and see exactly what plans have that tool included, and also the requirements for that plan. So if there's any sort of prerequisites needed, any prerequisite plans or licenses needed to get to there, then that will be clear in the portal as well. And also you can do add-ons. So if you can't sort of justify the expense of moving everybody up to a higher subscription level, you can just search for an add-on and bolt that onto your existing plan then to give that added functionality, whether that's temporary or permanent. So you can sort of just buy that security tool as an add-on to your existing A3, for example, then. And all that can be done within MyPugh then, and you don't have to do it all yourself. So we know some of you are responsible for several different plans and thousands of licenses. So, you can bring your colleagues in to help then. So you can add colleagues directly from the portal itself. You can set their permissions. So if you want them just to be able to log in and keep an eye on Azure usage to track against budgets, that can be done. Or if you want them to be able to change license counts or even place new order subscriptions, that can be done as well. So that the permissions and roles within MyPugh are quite flexible then, and they let you sort of delegate safely to your colleagues then with the right permissions. And if your colleague ever leaves, if somebody leaves, you can simply log in, remove them, and you can add somebody else then if needed. And as I mentioned earlier, all the activity is logged, so you know exactly who is doing what within that portal once you've given them access then. So now that you know a bit more about MyPugh, I'm going to pass over to Sean in a sec. So Sean is going to do a quick live demo of the CSP Customer portal, so you can sort of see all that in action. It won't be MyPugh itself because we obviously have live customer data in our portal. So it will be a sort of test arrow portal with no real data in there, but the features and functionality will be exactly the same as MyPugh. Then it's just the interface might be a bit different. That's all. So yeah, over to you, Sean.
Brilliant. Thank you, Mark, for that. So yeah, just to introduce myself, my name is Sean McHale and I work for Arrow, so I'm a cloud BDM for the Arrow team. But yeah, we work very closely and a strong partner with Pugh. So yeah, so with the portal itself, obviously as Mark has alluded to, this would be seen as MyPugh and as your CSP portal. But as Mark has said, this is just a demo. But all the functionality and features are the exact same as you would experience with, say, MyPugh. So when you log into the portal itself, you'll at the very top of the page, you'll get your own username or the name that you're logged in as. And if you know exactly what you want to do, there's a quick actions feature here. So, if you want to look at your subscriptions straight away, just go My Subscriptions. If you want to see what you can purchase on the platform itself, you click My Catalog. And if it's a case of you want to add users or manage who has access to the portal itself, you just click that. But just if we start from the left and going down in this motion here, and I just click My Subscriptions. Oh, apologies, let me just log in. Demos are always dangerous. So yeah, if I go to My Subscriptions, this would basically take me to like a landing page as to everything that I've ordered through MyPugh. So you can see here in this test environment, this particular end customer, this fictional end customer has bought some business standard licenses, so business basic, and have an Azure subscription. So if we're just to select, let's say, a seat-based and an IaaS PaaS subscription. So if we started with your business standard license and just clicked view subscription. Yeah, so this will basically bring you to what exactly you have ordered and how many seats you have, so if it's a case of, as Mark has alluded to previously, that if you need to increase your seat count by, let's say, just by 5 seats, or by, let's say, increase it to 5, all you have to do is click next. Key thing to note with the platform itself, if you're increasing, say, the baseline SKU, so let's say the business standard, and it's a case you just need the business standard license and not the actual add-ons that come with that, just make sure not to click that box, because if you click that box, basically what you will be doing is basically ordering an additional 3 seats of these particular add-ons for that baseline SKU. So just key thing to note exactly when you're doing it. But if you're happy with this and it's just, say, the business standard license and those particular number of seats you wanted to order, all you have to do is click validate. And what happens then is that everything is purely automated in the background with the MyPugh, basically. So there's no, as Marcus said, there's no requirement there from Pugh to basically action this. It's purely automated. The licenses will basically become available within the 365 admin center for you to assign to your users. So it's purely automated, and it's a real kind of self-provisioning portal for you to leverage. If we just take a step back and look at it from an Azure subscription perspective, so if I click into the subscription itself and just go view consumption, let's give it a second to populate. So here, yeah, you can see exactly, we haven't finished the month, so hence this isn't entirely green, but you can see here exactly the spend, the actual spend you have. So key thing, and it's quite a unique thing about MyPugh, is it has in the background a form of AI and ML basically built into it. So we can basically forecast to exactly what your projected consumption could be for that month. And a key thing to that, right, is you can set thresholds or budget thresholds for if you don't want to go over that budget you've set for your Azure environment. You'll get a notification saying that you need to action this, and is it planned for it to go over this, right? So because the key thing Mark said was, managing your Azure environment can become quite costly. So it's a good way, and MyPugh is a good way of keeping on top of that, just to keep in line with the budgets that you've set. If I scroll down, it goes quite granular. So the actual portal itself, MyPugh, is API into the Azure portal. So all that data that you are using within that Azure environment or against that domain is basically centralized within MyPugh. So you can see here exactly the type of VMs that are being used, if it's virtual network, and figures are quite small here, but this could be up in the thousands depending on what you're spending, and that's the vendor categories. If I go vendor subcategory, let's give it a second to load. It goes even more granular in terms of what is the actual VM and what is the actual spec of what I'm consuming. So it gives you a good kind of insight into exactly what is happening within that environment for you. And yet for my tag, so basically what you can do within MyPugh as well is, and this is actually done within the Azure portal, but you can set tags within the Azure portal that will basically appear within MyPugh. So it could be a particular VM you could be working on a project. It could be a particular VM that you want to test out or try out. You can see for this particular one, they've been testing out some demo environments linked to this Azure subscription, but it allows you to kind of closely monitor what exactly is happening with that environment and set tags against it. And a key thing here, and this kind of just summarizes exactly how granular it can go. So, and I've seen this happen. Sometimes happen where you might get a spike in your consumption for your Azure subscription, but you might not understand why did it happen? When did it happen? What day of the month? How do you properly investigate this? And this is where the daily consumption really does come in handy. So you can literally filter to exactly what was consumed on a particular day of the month, and it really helps you kind of manage the spike and understand what exactly was consumed in that. So you can see, again, it's quite small amounts, but you can see exactly what was consumed on the 10th of November, and what resources were deployed within that. And based on that information, you can then kind of analyze and investigate, why did that happen. So it really kind of helps with, I would say, incident resolution situations. It's really powerful in that regard. So yeah, it's very granular with the information that you can provide. So that's from a seat-based and IaaS and PaaS based. So obviously your 365, your Azure consumption, and that's where you basically manage it within my subscriptions. So if I go to my catalog, again, this is just a demo portal, so it would be primarily Microsoft CSP that you will see on MyPugh. But if it's a case where you want to order a new subscription, be it Azure or be it 365, whatever it may be, it's just a matter of clicking. If I go to cart, clicking place order, and basically, sorry, if I click view details, it's not place order, it's view details. As Mark said at the start, what the great thing about MyPugh is as well is you're also getting like information on the SKU itself. It's not just a matter of click an order type of thing. You actually have information on what exactly you're ordering and information around it. So you can see the features here as to exactly what's included within that SKU, but also the requirements. So the requirements would usually be more so for like if you were to add an add-on SKU, like you cannot order an add-on SKU unless you have the baseline SKU. So if I was ordering an add-on here, the requirements would be the baseline SKU, and you basically just need to ensure that is provisioned before you order the add-on. But it's very, very straightforward. If you wanted to order one of these Dynamics licenses, all you have to do is place order, accept the T's and C's, and validate. And again, it's quite similar to my subscriptions and managing your own licenses. Just a matter of literally going through the process of accepting the T's and C's and ordering. So it's a very straightforward process, and that's also the exact same for Azure. But yeah, it's an interesting one because the way MyPugh was kind of growing, we're looking at jointly as ways to what more products we can get on platform to help you simplify and have a simplified one billing portal and one management portal for all your cloud business, right? So that's something we're striving towards and we're working together on quite closely. So if I go my catalog, so if I go my colleagues is the next piece. Again, there's no limit to the amount of people you can have on MyPugh. You might just need one person, you might need 10 people. It depends on, I suppose, the size of your procurement team. But if I was just to add a colleague here, it's pretty straightforward information. You can fill out the information, in terms of last name, first name, emails. I would say there's not much difference between these users here. I would say from my experience, I've seen most people see the ECU director, and that's if you give them basically privileges of an ECU director, it's basically allowing them to order licenses for you on behalf of your organization. So most people would be giving that to the user. Again, if you had, again, it depends on your situation. If you had it could be very unlikely now, but if you wanted to have 50 people having access to MyPugh, you could literally have you could upload as a CSV template, and basically all you have to do is input that customer, or not customer, but that contact details. And it's basically you download the file, you upload this information, and you upload it to MyPugh, and it's purely automated then, and all these contacts will appear on my colleagues. And yeah, it just helps you, I suppose, managing that for you and kind of speed up the process of getting your internal people on the platform. And the final thing really is, so these contact names here are just people internally within Arrow, but obviously within MyPugh, you'll have contact details here of everyone that you can reach out to support you with the platform. So there's obviously a team beside Pugh that support this, which is Arrow. So we're always working together on that. And yeah, you'll have it on this page within MyPugh, you'll have a list of contact details for people that you can reach out to. If there's any questions on the platform, be it any challenges you have, if there's even any recommendations you have in terms of what you want on your particular MyPugh, we're always open to ideas as to what you need as an end customer. And yeah, the only last thing I would mention about the portal is, I've brought you through my subscriptions, my catalog. If it's a case of literally you're in a rush, you know exactly what you need. If I was just to go to the search bar and type in Microsoft 365, click search. Yeah, so you can see here exactly, it basically comes up as offers and subscriptions as being the ones that you basically provisioned already. But if you knew exactly what you needed, rather than going to my catalog, and you just needed like a business standard license, just click that, and this will basically bring you to the ordering page, which I showed you when I was going through the catalog. And yeah, it's just literally a matter of validating the required seats you need, and then basically accepting the T's and C's and validating and placing the order. And this is a bit slow for me now. Apologies. You always run this challenge with a live demo. Yeah, it's been quite slow, but yeah, if it is a case where you do need that particular SKU that fast, it's just a matter of placing the order that way. So it just saves you going through the catalog. But and that's the portal. It's quite straightforward. There's nothing. The whole point to MyPugh is that we don't want to overcomplicate the procurement process. We basically just want to give you the information and the features that you need to do what you need to do. And some of the key things Mark spoke about there, he's gone over it, but hopefully this demo environment has kind of shown you exactly what it looks like. The only difference between this portal and MyPugh is literally that it'll be seen as MyPugh, and all the features and functionality will be the exact same. So that's the demo. So if I just if I could share my screen, just bear with me for 1 second. I'll get the slides back up. Can you see that, Mark? Can you see that your side?
Yeah, that's up.
Brilliant. Okay, so just before we jump on this slide and talk about it, I'd like to bring you through what exactly is NCE. So NCE stands for New Commerce Experience, and it's a big change Microsoft have brought to the market this year. And fundamentally, it brings a different experience as to how end customers buy their CSP licenses. So I'll touch on what the actual changes are coming in the next couple of slides. But from this slide, you can see the CSP timeline for NCE, which we are working towards, both Pugh and Arrow. So the general availability for for NCE SKUs is January 2022. It was actually formerly October, but was pushed to a later date, literally just to allow more enablement and education, literally webinars like this, to basically to take place and give CSP end customers time to accustom themselves with the changes, and basically understand what is exactly right for them with NCE. So the transition period from legacy SKUs on CSP to NCE SKUs on CSP should really happen between January and March next year, where from March onwards all SKUs must be purchased on NCE. So Pugh have been at the forefront of this with Arrow since announced in originally August 19th. So yeah, we're more than happy to sit down with you and support with that transition. It's also key. It's very important to note that also price increases will occur from March onwards, and that will only be monthly commitments. But yeah, so you can see there from the timeline exactly what's happening. But yeah, from an end customer perspective, from your perspective, these are some key dates just to keep in mind and how Pugh can support you with that transition to NCE CSP. And this is something that will have to happen. But with that transition from legacy to NCE CSP SKUs, there's literally no impact from your perspective from an end customer. It's purely just from an operational perspective that we need to basically put this through as an NCE product rather than a legacy SKU. So it's purely on the action of both Arrow and Pugh to do that. But we need to basically sit down with you guys and understand what exactly. And the next couple of slides, I'll talk about this as to the different changes that are coming under NCE compared to the legacy, as to how you traditionally bought your CSP licenses. So if I just go to the next slide. Yeah. So under the legacy experience, there was only two terms, which is annual and monthly on CSP. While there was a cancellation term included in the license type, it was never enforced, and therefore CSP was very flexible. So New Commerce brings with it major changes to how this will work moving forwards. There will now be 3 license terms or 3 licensing commitments, monthly, yearly, and multi-year, which is 3-year. So the monthly term will be available at a premium price in recognition of the flexibility it includes. It is also important to note that under the New Commerce experience, it's able to have a mixture of both license types as it best aligns to your business, basically. So I mean, if I put this into a scenario or an example, this could mean an annual subscription for your core user base, and then from a monthly perspective, have monthly for the users where there may be changes during the year, for example, like seasonal workers, or when it might happen, or when it just might be needed internally within your business. So you can have that dual approach in terms of like a 1 year, 3 year commitment for your core base of people that you can know will be within the business for that time period. But then alongside that, in conjunction to that, you can have your monthly subscription, which is, as I said, for the seasonal workers. So just in terms of the licensing prices and how that's kind of adjusting, so we looked at it from a price protection perspective and suspension. So starting with the legacy. So traditionally with CSP, you had 12-month price protection, and suspending subscription stops the charges. That was the end of it. That was kind of why a lot of people kind of opted for the CSP group, because it added that flexibility. Now that still is there with NCE, but it's just at just different terms, I suppose. So with the new commerce experience, you have your 1 month price protection rather than your 12-month price protection, and then for the annual, you have your 1 year price protection. And rather than, so anything you have on say NCE annual terms, rather than suspending the licenses, you can't do that. It basically needs to be paused, but unfortunately the billing will still basically be there. So that's why I'm just saying it's key. Because obviously, as an end customer, you don't want to pay for licenses that you don't need in theory. So you basically need to accompany that with a monthly subscription, which is very important to basically understand what exactly you need, I suppose, as a CSP customer. So I suppose the key thing that's changing is, and we always say it, and this Microsoft have pushed us quite a lot, is it's removing the word suspend and basically replacing that with pause, and that's kind of the key change that's coming to that. So yeah, this slide, it just kind of gives you an overview of the different licensing options in terms of your monthly, and then you have your 1 year or 3 year, which is like your multi-year commitment. We're still kind of again we're basically being kind of fed information from Microsoft with this, in terms of like we have a pretty good understanding of what it means from a monthly perspective and a 1 year. Still a bit we're still at a European level as well, actually getting information on what the 3 year commitment will look like. But what we're being advised is that it'll be quite similar to the 1 year. So for the monthly commitment, just as a summary, you'll still have your flexibility with your monthly CSP subscriptions. The key thing with this, right, though, is as it stood today, you had basically, it was a kind of like on a day-to-day basis as to when you needed your licenses. If you needed to up your licenses on a particular day, mid-month, that was no problem. That was the benefit of being CSP. But what they're doing now, Microsoft have enforced, is basically you can only make changes on monthly subscriptions at the end of the month, and that's literally like a 72-hour cancellation period. And so that's a key thing just to note with that. Alongside that, there's upgrades. So upgrades are permitted midterm for some products, and downgrades are not permitted on any license until the end of the month. And it's quite similar. If you contrast this to the 1 year or 3 year commitments, you'll see that there's some similarities there, just in terms of the only real difference is, I suppose, the commitment that you're basically putting towards. So you obviously have your 12-month or 36-month commitment, but just looking through the change, I suppose, the notes here with the 1 year and 3 year and the points, so with the annual, and this will also be for a 3 year option as well, is you'll have the option of paying that as a monthly or upfront payment, completely down to yourself as to how you want. But it's just the commitment that you're basically doing with Microsoft is the key thing, that makes them different. And you can only make changes at the end of those terms with those licenses. But that's what I'm saying. If I go back to just on the last point I said about accompanying with having your core base of in staff with that kind of annual and 3 year commitment, and then having alongside that a 3 year subscription. I think this is something we've been speaking to Microsoft quite closely on. That's kind of going to be the future of how CSP is transacted, because it makes sense, because obviously then you can up and down licenses at the end of the month again, with the monthly subscription. So yeah, that's, again, as we said at the start of the presentation, we can get these slides out to you at the end of the presentation, over the next couple of days. But yeah, it's very important from your perspective and as an end customer, to understand these changes that are coming, and and how you can basically start thinking about, you know, what is right for your business, or not even business, but even if you're a university or if you're a not-for-profit, what's right for you as an entity. So, and that's where kind of Arrow and MyPugh can support you with that. So that is my slides. Mark, do you want to jump in there?
Yeah. Perfect. Thank you very much, Sean. Very useful information. So I'll just share my screen again quickly. We just wanted to end on this really. So like I said previously, you know, you've all been invited here today because you are Microsoft CSP customers of ours already, and we've got good relationships with you. But you know, just to reiterate really the partnership that we and Arrow have with Microsoft. You know, we are a Microsoft Gold partner and Ed LSP, and have been for many years. So I think, you know, given that sort of great partnership that we have, we will have all the information coming through as we learn more and more, so we can provide you with that as it comes in then. But you know, in the meantime, any further questions you have, or if you want to discuss in detail, you know, like Sean was saying about that transition period and what you know you have to do to prepare for it, just get in touch and we can work with you with that as well. And likewise for the MyPugh portal. So you know, if you want more information on MyPugh, or if you can't access it, or if you need help, you know, getting set up, just let us know and we can help out with that. And the same goes for anything really. So as you can see there, we provide software, hardware, services, any queries you have across not just Microsoft, but our entire portfolio. Just either contact your account manager, or there are some contact details at the end of the slides here. So yeah, just get in touch. So we are going to stop the recording now to have a Q&A if you do have any questions. So I'll just go ahead and stop the recording.